I agree with Sandra Vasconcelos and also contend that the Sertão was not only a physical matrix but a linguistic one where the re-enchantment of the word is still possible. It forms the substrate of Hawes's own writing, providing the ideal platform for a vast laboratory of linguistic experiments. Hawes confirms this in a letter to Mary Lou Daniel, where he writes, "The sertanejos of Minas Gerais, isolated among the mountains, in the heart of a central state, conservative par excellence, have kept almost intact a classic archaic tongue, which was mine, of my childhood, and which seduces me." Using it as a base in a way, instinctively trying to develop its still embryonic tendency to evolve is a path that I use. Hugh Baldo, our protagonist and narrator, produces all manner of colourful neologisms as he speaks, all of which sound like words that could or should exist, but don't. They're all the brainchildren of Guimarães Rosa, but embedded in the fabric of the highly plastic way of speaking that I've just described, they don't jar or break what Samuel Coleridge called the willing suspension of disbelief. That is, the Brazilian readers who are willing to tackle Grande Sertão Veredas find enough verisimilitude in Hubaldo's peculiar way of speaking, his idiolect, to retain their poetic faith, no matter how strange it is. And this is one of Hawes's greatest feats. He has explored the creative possibilities of his native dialect, exploding it beyond all limits, bringing it to life in new and unexpected ways. And people still believe it. How does one translate something like that? I hear you asking. Well, with the right specialised dictionaries and enough research, it is possible to hunt down the meanings of most of the obscure vocabulary and unpick most, though not all, of Hawes's neologisms. But this is where I must resist the temptation to translate them into clearer and more legible English, simply because I managed to get to the bottom of something. Although ironically, this is exactly what readers of the original do. They translate or paraphrase this quirky Portuguese into their own version of the language in their minds as they read it. But as the translator, I can't stop there at the interpretation. After unravelling and understanding Hawes's original, I must then rehouse that understanding in an English that is no more or no less obscure than his. It must be as serpentine and colourful as his, as demanding of the reader as his. It's a painstaking, multi-layered process, but one that is deeply gratifying as I watch this extraordinary novel slowly come to life in English. I'd like to read to you one of the most evocative passages that I've translated so far. I'm lived, brimful. I remember things afore they happen. Does this lighten my fame? I've wheeled a free life. Sertão, its emptinesses. You go, sir. You'll still find something. Cowboys. 2 or 4 towards going to the Urucuia Plateau where cows are many moo. Or further, cowboys from Green Swamp and Quebra-Canal's Brook. Their horses talk in whispers, they say, to give their readers wise advice when no one else is round to hear. I buy it and I don't. There's woe and there's woe and the foxes oh. Coming this way, sir, the headwaters of the Carinhanha and the Pirachinga, child of the Urucuia, which the 2 of them out of 2 turn their backs on one another. They come from the same wetlands, huge burichi swamps. In those parts, boas moan. Thick they are. They hurtle body at deer and go wrapping round, strangulating 10-footers. All round it's grubby mud that latches onto mules' hooves even, tugs off horseshoe after horseshoe. Dreadful of Mother Snake, you'll see a whole bunch of critters hold back leery, patient out the hour till they can drink water, hidden behind palm thickets. but the sassafras bush out, guarding the water, which smells a good perfume. Gators grizzle 1, 2, 3 times, husky horse. Gators lurk, boogly-eyed, nobbled in the mud, staring ugly at you. They know how to fatten up. In lakes where nary winged things are lights because of hungry gators and sawtooth piranhas, or even lakes that can't even open an eye for all the reeds. From there far more a ways, the swamps turn into rivers. Burichis come with them, palm following palm. To change basins, you go up table-edged steeps and abrupt onto the plateau, high plains that never turn back. Water? And none. Just what you take, sir. Those long plateaus, buzzing with horseflies biting. Horseflies. The sun beats down in powerful waves, beats and beats, there's so much light hurts. The horses sweated salt and foam. Many a time we had to hack our way through the bush, tapir trails, the 2-trail backwards. By night, it's always the sky tangles in shimmers. You almost bump 'em with your head. Beautiful and numbered turnout, like the sky of stars in the middle of February. But on no moon nights in full pitch, it's a darkness that fetters and foils. It's a whole lot of night. The sertão all in black, it's always unsettled me. Not Jaduring. He never shook off that fire and ice idea and never got rattled. But I wanted dawn to come. Hot days, cold nights. We tore up reashins for kindling. If we had food and drink, I'd turn in early. I'd dream, just dream, better or worse, freed. I was moon-stricken. When day broke, I'd hear other birds, kingbirds, cowbirds, the ground grubber, the white-breasted dove, or the virgin forest quail dove, but mostly the kiskadee. A hind and a formy everywhere I went. It felt like just one kiskadee. By golly, don't you reckon it's always one, the same one? I asked Jadurin. He didn't agree and had an odd look on his face. When my friend got that way, I lost my well-bearing. And I sat there wondering if it really was, if it was one exact kiskadee dogging my life long, accusing me of evils I still hadn't come to. It's like that to this day. Now, this is a work in progress, and it will be a few more years before it's published, but please look out for it when it is reborn. In the meantime, however, read books by Lusophone writers, that is, writers who work in Portuguese. Here are a few that are available in English. That Hair by Jamilia Pereira de Almeida, translated by Eric Becker. The Complete Stories by Clarice Lispector, translated by Katrina Dodson. The Posthumous Memoirs of Brás Cubas by Machado de Assis, translated by Margaret Joel Coster and Robin Patterson. Or the same book translated by Flora Thompson DeVoe. The Collector of Leftover Souls by Eliane Brum, translated by Diane Gross-Klaus Whitty. Rain and Other Stories by Mia Couto, translated by Eric Becker. The Book of Chameleons by José Eduardo Agualusa, translated by Daniel Hahn. The Book of Disquiet by Fernando Pessoa, translated by Margaret Joel Costa. Or My German Brother by Chico Buarque, translated by yours truly.